Pierce from Hamilton County Schools. We are going to finish our essays today. So you guys should have done the body paragraphs 2 days ago and maybe continued to work on it yesterday. We wrote the introduction and conclusion yesterday. Today we are going to introduce our counterclaim, and we're actually going to refute the counterclaim, which means to argue against it. And then we are going to just revise and edit. You can look at the rubric your teacher can give you on how to revise and edit your argument essay. So what we got to do to be able to successfully acknowledge and refute an opposing claim. So a counterclaim is what the other side might say. So for me, I'm arguing that social media causes eating disorders. So I've got to think, what might the other side say? So someone who thinks that social media does not cause eating disorders, what would they argue against me? Luckily, we've already done this work. So I'm going to share my screen. And let you guys see some of the arguments against social media causing eating disorders. So this is the evidence that I had on the other part of my chart, which you guys also have this evidence for the other side of your chart, because that's what we've been working on. So one argument against it is that online interaction can allow sufferers of all mental health difficulties to develop a voice and feel supported. So rather than it, causing eating disorders, it can actually be of great comfort to some people with eating disorders by giving them a connection to others who understand and can relate to their struggles. This one basically explains that eating disorders have a biological basis, just like other mental disorders like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and addictive diseases. So it's not caused by social media, it's caused by your biology. This one says an eating disorder rarely occurs in a vacuum. A lot of times there's anxiety and depression. This one says that there is basically a social media website that allows young adults to develop healthy attitudes about food. And then this one is a study that says the findings suggest that the girls' meta-awareness, which is their awareness of their own thinking, and sophisticated understanding of the media and other pressures serves to moderate against the forces, which would otherwise seem overwhelming. So basically, we can control that, right? So we can control whether or not social media affects us. So I think I'm going to use this one. Eating disorders appear to have a biological basis. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And then we're going to look at how to do a counterclaim. So our first step is to introduce the counterclaim, which is basically, as you guys know, we're going to introduce the fact that some people would argue against the fact that eating disorders eating disorders are caused by social media. So I would say something along the lines of some people would argue that eating disorders. So again, I'm doing the biology one, are actually the result of mental illness, not social media. For example, one study showed that, and then I'm going to switch to orange because the next step is to give the evidence. It is super important that you provide evidence because if you can argue against evidence, it shows that you have a really deep understanding of the side that you're taking, right? I'm not just saying some people might say this. I'm saying I've done the research, I've seen what other people have said, and I am confident enough and prepared enough in my argument that I don't need to back down. So then we have to counteract that argument. We have to argue against it. So we can do a couple of different things. We can admit that it's true, but show how it can actually prove your point. That's my favorite way to do it. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't sometimes it doesn't prove your point. Sometimes you can show that it's actually false, and sometimes you can admit that it's true, but minimize how important it is. And that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to make this blue. And I'm going to say, while this may be true, the use of social media can trigger eating disorders in people who are already suffering from mental illnesses, and therefore is still responsible for the eating disorders. Okay, so I've just minimized the importance. Yeah, eating disorders might be a biological thing, but social media can still trigger it to happen, right? So I'm kind of saying, even if you are biologically like predisposed to have a eating disorder, social media might make you do it when you wouldn't normally. And then the key is we got to figure out, where does this fit in my essay? Mine is going to fit in the paragraph about the websites blurring the line between health and eating disorders. So those fitspiration sites that might end up being like unhealthy. I think this fits here because I'm talking about how it can trigger it. So I'm going to add a sentence to just make sure it ties in really well. So for someone who is already on the line or already predisposed to have an eating disorder, some of the fitspiration sites could truly blur the lines between healthy and unhealthy. So I would just throw that into that paragraph, and then I have addressed my counterclaim. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, because what I want you to do now is follow those same steps. Introduce the counterclaim, give the evidence, counteract it, and then figure out where it fits in your essay. Make sure to tie it in there. And I want you to add that to your essay. And then I want you to go back and revise and edit. You're going to revise for meaning. You're going to edit your conventions, capitalization, punctuation, even go so far as thinking about spelling. You have some time to do that today. You're just going to make your essay presentation ready, right? You want to be ready to publish this essay at the end of class today. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day.